Hi, I'm Lisa. Thanks so much for dropping by. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel, The Southern Seamstress. I hope everyone's doing well, and I hope you enjoyed my last video where I shared some free patterns to help you get an early start on your Christmas sewing. In today's video, I've got 14 more patterns to share that I think might make great gifts for your family or friends. But I wanted to mention a couple of things before I get started in this week's video. First of all, one of the patterns that I had mentioned in last week's video was called the Pelican Tote by Bagstock Designs. And right after I released that video, I had a viewer comment that when she looked on their website, even though it was a free pattern, it said that it was out of stock. Well, I've never seen that happen. When I went to look on their website, it also said out of stock. And so you could, even though it was a free pattern, you couldn't load it to your cart to get it. But I did check back on that pattern last Friday and then just a few minutes before filming this video, and it is back in stock and available to order for free and download. So I'm not sure what caused that pattern to show that it was out of stock, but now it should be available if you're wanting to make the Pelican Tote. Also in last week's video, I had made up a cute little tote bag called the Wave Pocket Tote. And one of my viewers had pointed out that the straps were not sewed on like a traditional tote bag and was asking if I had done it that way for a special reason. So I went back to look at the tote bag, and sure enough, I had sewed the straps on incorrectly. I was really in a hurry when I had done this. I had made the tote except for sewing the straps on before I went on a camping trip, and then when I got back, right before I made the video, I sewed my straps on. And mostly what I was just concerned about was getting them the right distance from the side of the tote and from the top of the tote. And for some reason, instead of sewing each strap on the same side, I put them over and sewed one end to one side and one end to the other side. Now, when I was trying to pose with this tote for my video, I knew that I couldn't put it on my shoulder like a regular tote, but I was in such a hurry, I just put it out of my mind and filmed the video. Well, since I thought I was going to keep this tote, I wasn't going to bother with redoing the straps, but the more I thought about it, the more it bothered me. So I went back and redid my straps the correct way. So before, I had this strap going from here over to the back side. So it wasn't hard to fix because I only had to take off one end of each strap. So now my straps are sewed on correctly. Just wanted to mention that in case any of my other viewers thought the straps looked strange, and I didn't want you to sew your straps on like I did. So here's how the straps should look. And now it goes on my shoulder like the normal tote. So I really want to thank the viewer that pointed it out. I'd really hate to make that tote for one of my friends and then have the straps put on incorrectly. The first two patterns I wanted to show you in today's video are both tote bag patterns. Totes are always something I think everyone can use, whether you're a child, teenager, or an adult. The first one is called the Ethel Tote, and it is by Swoon Patterns. I think this is a really cute tote. It looks really roomy. It has a special teardrop shape instead of just being a regular rectangle or square. I like that this tote doesn't require any special hardware. I don't even think it has a zipper on the outside. It says that it has slip pockets on the inside for small things. This tote is 13 inches wide at the bottom and 9.5 inches wide at the top, and it's 5 inches deep. So I think you could put quite a few things inside this tote. Now the next tote bag is also very roomy, and it's called the Martha Market Bag by I Think So. This bag is 18 inches wide and 12.5 inches tall. So you could carry quite a few things from the market or the beach or wherever you're traveling to. This bag has no special hardware that you have to buy. It says you can put a magnetic snap at the top if you want it to close more securely. And also I think you could add slip pockets very easily to the inside of it to kind of keep things more organized. I really like their photos that have the solid color bottom and straps with the printed patterns on the upper portions of the bag. So that was the Martha Market Tote by I Think So. Now my next two patterns can be used either as a pouch or like a crossbody bag. The first pouch is the Sunshine Crossbody Pouch by Bagstock Designs. Now I have mentioned this, I think, in a video I did last year, but I really like this design and I have been meaning to make it several different times, but it seems like I just never get around to it. Like I said, you can use this as a pouch or you can add a strap to it and make it a crossbody bag. The main part of the pouch closes with a zipper, but it has also a little zipper pocket on the outside. In the pattern description, it says it's the perfect beginner pattern. It can be used as a cosmetic pouch or crossbody bag. It says it's 10.5 inches wide and 7.5 inches high and 3 inches deep. So it does look like it has boxed corners. I think this is another great pattern to make if you'd like to accent something with some cork or faux leather or vinyl. The picture shows it with cork and that looks really cool. Or you could make it with just regular cotton fabrics or even upholstery fabric. So that's the Sunshine Crossbody Pouch, and that one is definitely on my list to get made this year. The next pattern I want to talk about is called the Three-Way Bag, and it's by Emil's Handicraft. Now this bag is slightly smaller than the Sunshine one. It's about 8.5 inches wide and about 5.5 inches tall. It has the option of being made where you can attach a wrist strap to it or a crossbody strap to it. I think this is such a cute little pattern. I love the look of the 3 zippers. You can see complete instructions for this pouch on their website. And also they have a YouTube video tutorial that shows them making the pouch. I really like when people include a YouTube video. It's always nice to see someone actually making it, just in case you don't quite understand the written directions. I think this bag would work equally well for an adult or a child or teenager. So that's the Three-Way Bag by Emil's Handicraft. Now the next pattern is one I actually got made up this week, and it is the Kitty Cat Coin Purse by Orange Bettie. I think this is such a cute little coin purse. When I saw the picture, I thought I've just got to make this. So it has a little cat face on the front. It's got some little ears, and on the back, it's got a little tail. So for the black accents on the front and the tail, they have you use some heat and bond so that you iron it on to the outer fabric, but then you also go ahead and top stitch around it so that it stays secure. This pattern called for a safety nose and eyes. Now I'd never used safety nose and eyes, but I did buy a little package of them, and I think it looks really cute. They're really easy to apply. The only thing I didn't like about using them is that the back of the nose and eyes are very sharp. They look almost like a short screw. They have a little rubber cap that goes over the back that keeps it secure. And if you were using these like on a stuffed animal, you wouldn't feel the back of them and feel how sharp they are. But when you're reaching into the coin purse, you can definitely feel the sharpness of these plastic pieces. So what I did for mine, I snipped off about half of the back post of these plastic pieces. And I think they still have enough post that they will stay secure, but they're not quite as sharp now. So when you put your hand into it, it doesn't really bother me as much. I think if you want to avoid that altogether, I think buttons would work fine if you want to use like black buttons and then find a little pink button for the nose. I don't think you're going to be giving a coin purse to like a baby or a toddler that would chew the buttons off. I think you'd at least be giving it to an old enough child that wouldn't be a safety issue. I think also you could use like the plastic cam snaps, because they come in all different colors, and you could use one of those for the nose and 2 for the eyes. So this bag has a zipper opening and it is fully lined on the inside. Now, I did have a few problems, I have to admit, with this little pattern. One thing is they had made their kitty purse with, I think, just quilter's cotton. Now, I wanted my kitty to also be gray like theirs, but I didn't have any quilter's cotton that was in a gray or a gray print. So I had this gray in a canvas fabric. So I used this canvas fabric. It is interfaced. And just that extra thickness, I think, and because of the size of the purse, it just made it kind of difficult to work with. The main problem I had was with this ear section. So at the end of the zippers, you have the little tabs, and when you have it laid out flat to sew the outer sides and to sew the inside of the lining, it's a little difficult to sew over the tab area because you can't keep the tab area flat. It says to kind of squish the tab to the lining side of the purse. So that's how I sewed it, and it kind of causes the end of the sides where the ears are not to pop out well. So they're kind of sunken in a little bit. And in the pictures, that's kind of how it looks. It just kind of bothered me a little bit. Also, because this pattern is so small and I used a bulkier fabric, these little box corners were a little bit difficult to do also. But all in all, I still think it's such a cute and sweet little coin purse. So a couple ideas on making this coin purse a little bit easier to make. I think I would definitely use just the quilter's cotton the next time and not a bulkier fabric. Even though the size is really cute, I think I might enlarge the pattern just a little bit. You know, maybe an inch wider, inch taller. Just when you're printing it, you know, maybe try out like 110% or something like that, because I think making it just a little bit bigger would just help it be easier to sew together, especially on these bottom corners and even on these the top area. So that is the Kitty Cat Coin Purse by Orange Betty. The next pattern to show you is also another little pouch, and it's another one by Emil's Handicraft. This one is called the Dumpling Zipper Pouch. I was also able to make this one this week, and this is how it turned out. Now this pattern comes in 3 different sizes, and this is the size large. And the finished size of this one's about 9 inches wide, 6 inches tall, and it's about 3.5 inches deep. Now I will say that this pattern is really easy to cut out. It has one pattern piece. Now this is placed on the fold, so you're going to cut 6 of these. You cut 2 out of your outer fabric, 2 out of your lining, and then 2 out of the fusible fleece. So very simple to cut out. Now I don't think this pattern has written instructions. When you download the pattern, it also gives you the finished dimensions for the 3 sizes, and it tells you that there's a full tutorial on YouTube for the instructions. So this is a very simple pattern. I will say that I was in a hurry also when I was doing this. This is the last item that I made this week. I thought I was watching the video pretty intently, but I would suggest that you watch her make it several times and kind of slow down the part where she is putting the zipper in. Because even though it's a simple pattern, you can mess this up. I know from personal experience because somehow I messed this up 2 different times. I think I did forget to mention that I'd made mine out of quilter's cotton. It does have some fusible fleece. I just had some thinner type fusible fleece. Now they show on their tutorial that you can just fuse the fleece to the outer fabric as is, or you can go ahead and put some quilting lines to make it look quilted. So that's what I did. You probably can't see on camera, and plus my fusible fleece is not very thick, so it doesn't look real quilted, but I did put some 1-inch quilting lines, vertical quilting lines through this. So it does give it a little extra body. Now if my fleece was thicker, it would look more quilted. But I was trying to watch the video as I was going through the steps to sew it, and you take your first outer piece side and you unzip your zipper, and then you lay it flat down, one side of it flat down, and you sew around it. And then she does the other side, and I thought I had laid my zipper out exactly like she had hers, but somehow after I got the 2 sides together and I was putting them up to each other, my zipper was somehow twisted at the end. So I ripped out the second side and then I redid it. But then when I was putting the sides together, the zipper was not twisted, but somehow I had put more ease into one side than the other. So one of my sides had used a longer length of the zipper tape, and then the other side was about, I don't know, a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch shorter. So if you zipped it, the corners were not matching up. So what I should have done after I sewed the first side of the zipper was mark the end on the other side where the end should be. Because depending on what the length of the zipper you use, you're probably going to have a couple of extra inches at the bottom. It's not going to automatically come out exactly to the end of your zipper. So for this large size, I used a 22-inch zipper, and I think I had a couple inches left over. So I ripped out that one side again, and then I marked the zipper. So then I pinned each end to where it should be, and pinned the middle, and then, you know, eased in the sides. So after I did that, everything came out great and matched up. I like the size of this pouch. I think it's really cute. I like that it's got the box corners and it can sit up on its own. Also on this pouch, it didn't have any interior pockets, but I decided to put a little slip pocket right here. The only thing I probably don't like about the pouch is that when you unzip it, you know, the whole thing kind of comes out flat. I think I prefer a pouch that the zipper doesn't come all the way down to the bottom, that they have some sort of side to it, and then it starts zipping just the upper part of it. But that's just a personal preference. Other than that, it's an easy pattern. It doesn't take much fabric. Once you get everything laid out correctly, it doesn't take a lot of time. And I do love that it has the video tutorial to help you put it together correctly. Also, I wanted to mention that I think you could take any kind of little pouch like this, especially the ones that are curved, and put some little ears and faces on them to make them to a cute little character. So that's the Dumpling Zipper Pouch by Emil's Handicraft. Just a little side note before I get to the next pattern. I forgot to mention when I was showing you this kitty pouch that on her pattern, hers does not have a mouth. It just has the eyes and the nose. But when I was looking at it, I thought it just looked like part of its face was missing. So I just took a fabric marker and just drew a simple little mouth on it. So you may notice that hers doesn't have a mouth, but mine does, and that's why I added a mouth to mine. The next few patterns I want to show you are all geared towards babies and toddlers. I think these patterns would work great for Christmas, but also come in handy for baby shower gifts. The first baby pattern is a bib that's called the Elephant Bib and Binkie Holder, and it is by Stubbornly Crafty. When I showed this pattern to my husband, he said, "That is so cute. You've got to make it to show to your viewers." So even though I don't have a baby to give it to, I went ahead and made it up. A really simple pattern, had no problems with it. They suggest making the outer fabric with quilter's cotton and then the backing with the terry cloth. So I had this white terry cloth that I used for my backing. It's nice and soft. And then I used the quilter's cotton for the outer part of the bib and some coordinating quilter's cotton for the ears. Now this pattern, if you print it at 100%, is quite large. I think it's really geared towards a toddler. And if you look at their blog that talks about the bib, there are some photos of a child wearing it. And you can see that it's quite big on the infant. So if you're making it for a toddler, I think that's fine, but I wanted it more infant size. So what I did was I printed my pattern at 90% instead of 100%. So this is how mine turned out. So if you print it at 90%, it comes out to about 8 inches from right here to right here, and about 6 inches from here to here. So this is supposed to be a bib plus a Binkie holder or pacifier holder. So what you do is you put some Velcro on the end of the trunk, and then you put the little handle of the Binkie in it, and then Velcro it up, and then it hangs from there. So it keeps it handy for the little one, and then also has Velcro up at the top around their neck. Now I think when they were making up, they used pieces of black felt and then embroidered around those for the eyes. I still had a scrap of the black fabric I'd used on my kitty cat coin purse that already had the heat and bond on it, so I just cut the eyes out of it and ironed them on. So they're just fabric. And then I did sort of a little applique stitch around the outside so that they're not going to come off of the bib. So I think it turned out really cute. So I think any mom would love to receive this as a gift for their baby or toddler. Just remember, if you are making it for a baby, to decrease the size of the pattern. So that was the Elephant Bib and Binkie Holder by Stubbornly Crafty. The next pattern I want to share also includes a bib, and it is the Patchwork Baby Set by So Can She. This set includes a patchwork bib and a burp cloth. Now I didn't make the burp cloth, but I did go ahead and make the little patchwork bib. So this is how my bib turned out. I just used some quilter's cotton from the front. This was a little fat quarter collection I think I got off of Etsy. I think it looks just really sweet. Of course, you could make it in boy colors, or you can make it in neutral colors if you didn't know what the baby was going to be. So it's quilter's cotton on the front, and then she suggests flannel on the back. And on her, she also made some of her squares flannel, but I did them all the cotton and did the flannel on the back. So you're going to put your little patchwork together 3 squares wide by 4 squares high. And then she has you put some interfacing on the back of that piece. So that's what I did. But I also wanted to give mine a little bit more of a quilted look. So I did some stitching in the ditch along all of these seams. On some of my bibs that I've made in the past that were kind of a patchwork design, I've also, instead of just doing a straight stitch, I've put just a little zigzag stitch over the seams, and that always turns out really cute. Once you get your squares put together and your interfacing on, you'll just fold that in half and then lay your pattern piece on top of it. Now I thought this pattern piece was just a little bit odd in that the top end doesn't kind of curve out and doesn't come all the way out to the center like a more traditional bib. Now I don't have any babies handy to try my bib on. I did think that the opening looks a little small. She says this is made for a 3-month-old baby all the way up to 12 months. I did measure around this opening with it, closed up, and it comes out to be about 11 3/4 inches. So if any of you have any babies close by, I would love to hear if you think that this will fit a 3 to 12-month-old. If that opening, will give them enough room and without choking them. Of course, it would be really easy to make it a little bit wider. You could add, another 1/2 inch to an inch on each of these ends, and then that would make the opening bigger. I think this is really cute, and I think, adding a little matching burp cloth to it for a gift would be really sweet and be much appreciated. So that is the Patchwork Baby Set by So Can She. So we're up to pattern number 9, and this is also a baby related gift idea. This pattern is called the Big Pocket Baby Clutch, and it is also by So Can She. I think this pattern would be really cute to make and add it with a bib or birth cloth or blanket as a little baby set. I didn't have time to make up this little baby clutch, but she says it's big enough to hold a couple of diapers and some baby wipes and a few little baby items that you might need on the go. I think most moms with babies would really appreciate this clutch. Even if they carry around a big diaper bag, they can always put the essentials in this little clutch and then just throw it into their bigger bag. Or if they don't want to take a bigger bag, then they can just take this small clutch with them. So this baby clutch looks pretty easy to make. It kind of has an expandable pocket on the front, and then it's got a larger inside compartment. And they just close it with a simple button and buttonhole, or you could use a snap in place of the button. So that's the Big Pocket Baby Clutch by So Can She. Now the next pattern is one that could work for children of all sizes and ages, and I had to include it because the little girl in the photo that was modeling it just looked so cute. This pattern is the Heart Backpack, and it is by So Much Ado. Now this pattern looks pretty simple. On the outside it has a zipper, and I think on the inside it may have like a slip pocket. The lady that designed this pattern had first made it for her daughter when she was fairly young, I think maybe like 4 or 5. It's been a while since I read the write-up on it, so I'm not sure. But in her blog, she shows the same backpack with her daughter wearing it at, I think, 3 different ages. So at maybe 4 or 5, and then maybe 8 or 9, and then even as a young teenager. And of course, as a child gets older, it makes the backpack look smaller, but it's the same backpack. But I think it works well for at all ages. So this is also a free pattern, and you can download the template for the pattern pieces, and then the directions I think are on the blog. I don't think they have a PDF where you can download just the instructions, just the pieces. But anyway, I had to include it because the little girl in the photo looks so sweet wearing that heart backpack. Now the next pattern I want to show you is one that I did get made up this week, and it's the travel sewing pouch by Hanma DIYA. I'm not sure how she actually pronounces that website. So this little pattern is a great way to use scraps and to use coordinating prints. So I made mine in using some fabrics with this hot pink and lime green. The finished size of this little sewing pouch closed is about 7.5 inches wide and 9 inches tall. So it's just made of quilter's cotton, and then you're supposed to use sort of a stiffer type sew-in interfacing. I'm not sure if my interfacing is as stiff as what the pattern called for, but it was a sew-in type, and it's kind of a medium to heavy weight. It gives it a little body, but it's still very bendable. So this pattern was really easy to cut out and sew. I don't think there's any PDF to download and print. They just give you the dimensions of these rectangles that you put together. So it has 3 different pockets. It has the main pocket compartment that's open, and then it has these 2, and you can divide these up however you like. Like each of mine are divided up into 4 sections, but you could make one like 4 sections and the other one like 2 sections to put wider items in it. But I think it's really cute. So you can see from these medium type scissors that you could put those in this lower pocket and it would fold up, or I think you could put it in this middle pocket and it would just have enough room to fold up. So I do plan to make some more of these. I really like this pattern. I want to make some for my Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes for the older girls. So I'll probably include like a pair of scissors and some needles, pins, a few spools of threads, maybe a tape measure, something like that. For the closure, they have you use like a hairband, but you could just use that skinny, real skinny type of elastic. But I happen to have some hairbands, and I happen to have one that was the same color pink. So that worked out well. And then you use a larger type button. And I had an assortment of buttons that had these little floral buttons in them. So I picked out this little lime green one. So I thought that turned out really cute. Now you could use like a magnetic snap maybe, or even a regular snap. You just want to attach that to this bottom pocket before you put it all together, and then you, I guess, wouldn't have the seam going down the middle. Maybe you'd have a divider here and here, but you could make a snap work for it too. This pouch also has a zipper on the back, so you've got another pocket area here. This might be where I put my spools of thread. And this was really easy to put in. They give you really good instructions on how to put this zipper in this back. So I think this bag would work well for sewing supplies or even cosmetics or toiletries. And if you attached a strap to it, I think it would also work well for a little purse or crossbody bag. So I think this pattern's really cute and a useful pattern. And I do plan to make several more versions of this year. So that was the sewing travel pouch. So if you're still watching, thanks so much for sticking with me. I have just 3 more patterns that I'd like to share. Now the next pattern is one that I haven't made, but I would like to make it in the future sometime. And it is the pretty quilted iPad sleeve. And this is another one by Sew Can She. This is just a cute little sleeve type case that you can put your iPad in to give it a little more protection. And you can use pre-quilted fabric or make your own quilted fabric. Now when I saw this, it kind of reminded me of a comment one of my viewers made in a video I had made showing a quilted vest. And she said instead of just buying quilted fabric or making it, she had recycled quilted bed shams. I thought that was a really neat idea, and when I saw this quilted iPad sleeve, I thought of her comment about using the quilted shams. And I've got several quilted shams that I don't use. I just use the quilts that came with them. So I think I may take one of my quilted shams that I'm not using and recycle it and make this quilted iPad sleeve. But I think this would be a very useful gift to give someone if you know what size iPad they have. Now my iPad, I always keep a case on it, but sometimes, you know, when I'm traveling, I would like to put that case and with the iPad in a quilted sleeve like this, just to give it a little extra protection. So even if someone, you know, has an iPad case, they could still use this sleeve for extra protection. Maybe when they're traveling and putting in a suitcase or a backpack or a tote bag. So that's the pretty quilted iPad sleeve by Soakin' Sheet. Now my next to last pattern suggestion is a craft bag. And of all the craft bag patterns I've seen, this is probably the one that I really want to make the most. And it is the Oslo Craft Bag by So Sweetness. Now I think I did briefly mention this in another gift idea video, but it's such a cute bag, I wanted to mention it again. Of course, this pattern is a free pattern and it's got a tutorial that you can print off, so you don't just have to keep looking, you know, at the computer screen. Plus, I know there's at least one YouTube tutorial where someone is making it step by step. So I think with the written instructions and the YouTube tutorial, it should be a pretty easy make. I think the reason I haven't made it yet is because I haven't taken the time to pick out what fabric I want to use. I know I have plenty of fabric that will work. And just sitting down and cutting all the pieces of the fabric and the interfacings out, I know that's going to take some time. So I think that's why I haven't gotten it made already. It's got 3 nice pockets on each side, and then it also has a flat pocket on each end. And I think there's also some inside pockets. So this bag would really help you keep your projects organized, whether it's a sewing project or knitting or crochet. Or I'm sure you could use this bag for all kinds of things. I think it's just really cute and really versatile. So that's another pattern that's definitely on my future sewing list. Now the last pattern that I want to share is one that I've talked about in one of my gift idea videos, and it is the large oversized hot pad by Deb's Days. I really like the size of this because you can put like a 13x9 casserole dish on top of it, and it still has a little extra room around the edges. Because if you don't have an oversized one like this, you know, you may be trying to put 2 or 3 pot holders together and then put your pan on top. So I think this is really convenient to have. I wanted to make some of these as Christmas gifts to give, and I thought it would be neat to include a couple of matching pot holders. So what I've done is I've used the same technique that Deb has done with the hot pad and just made kind of mini versions for the pot holders. So the finished size for this oversized hot pad is 12 by 16. And what I really liked about this pattern is that it doesn't require any bias binding. What it does is that the backside fabric is several inches bigger, and then it just folds over the top, over the sides, and makes its own little binding. So for this particular one, the front is 12 by 16, but you make the back size 15 by 19, so it's 3 inches wider and 3 inches longer. Now she says you can use batting or Insul Bright or combination, and I think what I did for this one, I used 1 layer of Insul Bright and 1 layer of batting. So she has you put all the layers together, and then you draw these quilting lines that are 2 inches apart, and then use a walking foot and a longer stitch and just quilt those together. So very easy pattern. I'm going to link this pattern, and I'm also going to link another lady's video that shows how to do these miter corners. So if you haven't done mitered corners in a while, you can watch her video, and she does it in a very simple way. So I took that technique and I made 2 pot holders doing the same thing. I used some pre-cut strips that I saw at Walmart the other day in the fabric section. And I think the strips are 2.5 inches. Now these squares are 8-inch squares. So if I would have used a 1/4 of inch seam, it would have just taken 4, but I wanted to use 5 different strips. So I did 3/8 inch seams, and that allowed me to get 5 strips in here. And I wanted the binding to be a little narrower since it is a smaller project than the Hot Pad. So instead of making the backing 3 inches wider and longer than the front, I did 2 inches. And that gave me about a 1/2 inch. After you turn it down twice, it gave me about a 1/2 inch of binding. So I think this would be a very useful gift, not just at Christmas, but for a wedding shower. So I put the strips together. So then I cut an 8-inch square out of the patchwork piece, and then an 8-inch square out of the Insul Bright, and then I used also 1 layer of like cotton batting. And then I made the backing a 10 by 10. And I just centered this part over the backing. And then I just stitched quilting lines in the seams of these strips. I think they came out to be 1.5 inches each with a 3/8 inch seam. So that was the oversized Hot Pad by Deb's Day. So I will link her video in the description below, and one with the lady showing how to do the mitered corners on the binding. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's given you some inspiration on what you want to make for Christmas this year. If you did enjoy it, I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what pattern you like the best, and if you plan to make any of these for Christmas this year. If you haven't subscribed already, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. So until I see you in my next video, take care and happy sewing.